set up to be about here. All right, let's go. Things I need to do today. Things that we need to do. It's only a crazy dream until you do it. And then it becomes very exciting. All right, first things first, so let's get the kettle on. I very excitedly today put on a cute outfit, what I thought was a cute outfit anyway, you know, a jumper. Because I thought I was going to go do some training, and then the training got cancelled because of the weather. So instead, I'm going to build a pair of roller skates, which I'm quite excited for. And this pair of skates, they're not overdue. I was going to do them tomorrow, so I've just brought them back a day early, but that's okay because I have other stuff to do tomorrow. Move that over there. Right, I've got this new office chair, which is well exciting. So I'm going to start with the wheels we're going to put in. Let's put you here. There's no good for you, is there? I'll put you here. The issue is I need this plugging in. Sort out my mini needs. Maybe if I put you over here. A bit further away, we'll have a better view, eh? Let's try that and see. Woo! I'm sat behind a desk. Feels so official. Okay. I'm going to have to stop shuffling around on this chair, aren't I? It's not really going to work. So we've got our bearings. We've got our wheels. They are our favourites, the complex Ghibli. I am yet to meet somebody who doesn't put these wheels on and think, greatest thing ever. They really are just a delightful wheel. So we're using these roller bones, which are a pretty solid choice. They have got a bearing shield on one side and not on the back. That is where the race is. So with our, let's put this around this way. I've got a new bearing press now, Sure Grip bearing press. We're going to put the front of the bearing, so with the black shield, face down. The back of the wheel, that is the front. That's got the print on it, that's the back. And the back also, you can see, slightly sticks out. Back of the wheel down. Front of the bearing on, so we've made a little bearing sandwich. And we're just going to give that a good push. And the reason we need a bearing press is because these are extremely stiff, very stiff, but slightly quieter than using the tiny hand one. So, you know, I don't mind. Anyway, I'm struggling a little bit to see the chat tonight because I've put my phone quite far away. And that's because I've gone for this landscape mode. I don't really know, still getting used to YouTube Live, whether we're better having portrait or this way on. But I will come and check over what's going on in the chat if you have any questions tonight, as I'm sat here doing this skate build. Ooh. So usually a skate build would take me around 3/4 of an hour to an hour, depending on what the boot is and everything else. I've already done quite a lot of preparation, so it may be more like the 3/4 of an hour end, but we all know that I am a yapper, so let's call it an hour. The only reason I'm here, I did not expect to be here, but the reason I'm here is because my network meeting has been rescheduled. I was all locked up out of the door ready to go to an evening networking meeting. I've signed up to go and meet some other sporty people who run small businesses that are sporty. You can see how hard I'm pressing on this bearing press, and it is, there we go, not going in, there we go. So this is why with the complex wheels, we do not use a handheld tiny bearing press, because it literally is not going to get the bearing in. When I'm talking tiny handheld, let's see if I can find what I mean. I'm talking about the roller bones one. You know the one I mean. Alright. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, so it's likely that I've kind of not got rid of it, but just put it somewhere else. Anyway, we won't worry about that. So I have we have a whole load of tools here, but my wheels are now done, sorted. So I've got my plates here. I think I need the cushions and that part that goes with that. So I'm going to leave you to enjoy the boots. This is what we are going to be building this evening, is this WIFA boot in honey, this colour is called. So I need to go and get the cushions that go with this. And obviously put the kettle on. Who doesn't need a cup of tea? Right. Oh God, I've managed to ping the kettle off, haven't I? Okay, let's go. Nice bag of all of the stuff. Okay, so we need this later. I've got, I think it's probably time to treat myself to a new drill, to be honest. Don't like the look of what is in there. Here we go. Drill is not much use without its battery. Oh lordy, come on Mel. There we go. So I feel quite good about this skate build today, because this is the 4th one this week. It's only Wednesday, the 4th one. Who's chatting? Hi Jamie. You know it is. Drilling is the time is now. Right. So let's do this. I'm going to try and keep it tidy. So I'm putting this little bin at my feet so that all the bits can go straight in the bin. Now because this is a natural material, I actually really like to use my knees as a kind of a workbench surface, because it doesn't mark the suede, the nubuck, as much as a clamp would. So I've already marked up my plate positions, I've already marked my centre line on the bottom of the boot. If you can't see, I put tape on it so that I'm going to draw on this and not mark the sole. So let's go. So we angle the drill on the toe holes and it's straight down. And the other side. This is a 4.5mm drill bit, for those people that want to know. I did used to use a much smaller bit, like a 3mm bit, as a pilot hole drill bit, but I've done it enough times now that I don't need to bother. So that's it. The back holes I'm going to angle very slightly inwards so the lining of the boot doesn't get ripped up. Crap out of there. Lovely. And we're not trying to force the drill bit through, so we're not pushing. Just allow the drill to take itself through. And the soles on the WIFA boot are stacked ply glued together. There are some pretty chunky screws as well, holding the boot and the sole together. So if you hit one, you've just got to be a bit patient. You might, if it's really bad, depending where you hit it, you might have to change out your drill bit. Lovely. Let's go again. Doing great, guns. Oi, less than ideal. I could definitely need a new drill. Oh, it's definitely hit a screw in that side. You can feel it. Okay, so that is round one of drilling done. Now we're just going to pop the plate back on and check that the alignment is okay. Stuff does sometimes shift around a little bit and we need to do some bonus drilling, I will call it, but not just yet. That one seems okay. I think it might need a little bit of support when we get to it. Yeah, that's okay. Right. Next up, we're going to use the countersink tool, which is this. Yeah, my favourite. Alright, so this tool is pretty essential on the inside, especially of the WIFA boot, because without it, so inside here, and every boot is made differently, but inside this particular boot there's loads of screws holding the sole in, but it's also paper and thick card. I mean, that's what it feels like. And because of you have to drill in from the bottom, like you could try and drill from the inside out, but I don't think you'd get like a clean angle. It would be really hard, especially in the heel. So, you know, maybe in a factory you can, but in a hand process it's not going to work like that. So this is going to allow the screw head to sit really flat. Let's go again with this one. They're sighted nicely. If you miss this process out with this particular boot, which obviously you can do, but if you miss it out, it's going to cause a lot of discomfort for the user, which is not ideal. So no, like basically no. So what happens is the cardboard bits get kind of pushed up out of the way. So this is cutting them off, but it's also, I'm not happy with that. It is going to allow the screw, the countersink part, just to sit nice and flat. And I'm just going to poke out any little bits of debris that are sitting in those holes. And then we're going to repeat with the other boot. I've only very recently started letting people into my boot building process because, as you can see, the shop is currently closed, there's nobody in here. I basically don't really want to be interrupted because you kind of get into a little flow and a stride, and especially when you got to use the power tools. Like, I could go and sit in the storeroom and do it, and I have done, but I don't have a proper workbench space in there at the moment. It's storage of all kinds of stuff, and we need that space for other things. So the workshop space is kind of out here in the shop side, and there's enough room here, but when we're busy with lots of other things going on, you don't really want the Dremel going and like all the power tools. It's just a bit noisy. Anyway, lovely. I shall pop that through there. No, we won't. Go back in from the inside. Like, this part might feel that it's taking a while. It's honestly worth it. You'll get a much better finish. And if you skip this part, all that tends to happen is you'll go back into it later, or your customer will realise that they've got a screw sticking into their heel, both of which are not acceptable. And obviously all these processes might seem really obvious to somebody that knows about tools, but until you know nothing. So nothing is obvious, it's all learned. And that is what we learned from roller skating, that essentially it's okay that we don't really know anything in the beginning. The nice thing about the thrust plate though, at least the thing that I enjoy about it, is there are only 4 holes. Hooray! So it's not too tricky to get it sighted. It doesn't take too long compared to the 6-hole plates. Okay. Cushions all the way. So these screws will come out at a slightly funny angle, because if you try and put the screw in straight, especially in the heel, what ends up is you end up drilling into the heel lining, because the heel and the inside ankle is padded like this. So it's not that you're screwing straight down and then you can get at it from the inside. It like your drill bit will go into the lining, and that, again, not really ideal. And I've learned that the hard way before. First time that happened, I got someone's custom Moxie jack boot, and this was before the pandemic, and not only were they really hard to get, it was like I had much less experience at that time, and it arrived and I felt like they'd waited for such a long time for this boot already. I was really worrying that they were impatient, which obviously was totally my projection. They weren't impatient at all, and I rushed it, and I won't ever do that now. I refuse to rush things. So people can wait. I'd rather it was right, because what I actually did was I drilled into the lining, and my God, it was horrible. It felt disgusting. Oh, and then I had to tell the customer that I've made extra holes in your Moxie boot, which made me quite anxious. She was actually really generous. She was fine about it, but it didn't feel good. Right, so I'm just going to hold this in place with a washer and then a mounting nut. That will hold that on. And especially with a nylon plate, we want to make sure that we are getting these even. What's that one? Back you go. Back you go. Not happy with that. Sitting at a weird angle. Get out. Okay. So swing this out. I'm going to take off. I never made my cup of tea. What is wrong with me? I swear I put the kettle on, and then what happened? Nothing. Nothing. Anyway, it's all fine. Whoa. Yeah, there we go. Great. Is coming out. Now, out you come. Just having none of it. So the thrust plate, luckily, is quite soft. So we are going to help this by angling the plate, also known as drilling through the plate. Okay, so once one bolt is in place, the rest of them are easier to sight, but let's just help it out. Okay, it just catches a little bit of the side of the plate there. There's no problem. It's literally down to the bolt angle that is the issue. So now it should be really easy to slide through. Where are you? There you are. See? So much easier. Okay. God, honestly, sometimes just constantly drop stuff. So we'll hold that one in place with that mounting bolt, and then we will put the top side in. There's a little bit of tape on the thrust plate. That is just to hold the toe stop housing in place, because otherwise it's sometimes a little bit loose and it falls out. That's good. Okay. So short bolts go in the toe. In you go, in you go. Did you go? No. Just angle you over here. Yep, good stuff. So we always ask our customers what kind of plate mount they want, and they might not know. That's really very normal that you might not know. So if you're not sure, we'll ask you lots of questions about what kind of skating you do, where you see yourself, your intentions for using the boot, and so on and so on. And it's not that we are being mega nosy, well maybe it is, it's curiosity, but it's also just wanting to make sure that we're getting the right build for you. That you're making the right choices, and that we're going to help you by making sure we solve the right problem, that we actually put the plate in the right place for you. Because if you say that you're wanting to use this exclusively outdoors and we put a really short plate on, you'll be sad about it. So we need to make sure that that does not happen. Yeah, so most people we find are really happy to talk about their skates. They really quite like chatting about where they plan to use them, what they've been doing so far, how they're enjoying it, and just really kind of share about where they've got. And we've learned so much. There's so much fascinating stuff that's going on with people in their skate world, and I find it really interesting why people start this as a hobby in the first place, especially as an adult. You know, why do you start anything, and then why do you stick with it? Also really fascinating. And a lot of the time, I don't know if you're like me, it's the people that keep you in doing something. And definitely, you know, in jobs that you maybe didn't enjoy, it's the people, your team that you might work with, that you're like, oh, but I really get on with this person. I'm never going to meet another person like this if I go and do something different. So you kind of stay there well beyond really your potential for that job, or whatever, either you're offering the job or it's offering you. You know, I do believe that we should be challenged and move on and do new things, find new spaces and new places. It's a way personally that I think we should grow. But that's not to say that there isn't also a season just to enjoy the rewards, the things that you have grown, and your skills and everything else. Okay, so this is not finished, FYI, but I've just affixed these bolts, and it is important, especially with a nylon plate, just to make sure that around the same amount of the screw is showing. Otherwise, when you come to write the plate, it pulls on, and it's like it's pulled the boot in a weird way, and it's just wonky. So we're going to pop these to one side and repeat the process with the other boot. We go heels first. Now I can actually see the screw inside the heel showing on inside here. I'm not even going to try and show you because it's way too dark. I'd need a special like weird keyhole camera or something like that. But what you've got to be very careful about is that that screw in the heel doesn't just like gouge straight through these threads. Otherwise, we can't get the mounting screw on. So, yeah, you've got to just managing everything a little bit carefully. This process as well, where I put tape on the sole of the boot, this is how I prepare the boot, and I use a very light tack paper tape that isn't going to mark any suede or anything like that, but it's because the sole of the boot is soft, so we have just to be a little bit careful about drawing directly on it. I mean, if you decide you want to draw directly on it, that is up to you. You look like you're going to pop through. Okay, so we'll do the same as we did the other one, which is, let me fix this in place with a mounting bolt. So we put the washer on first and then screw the mounting nut on. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's in a good spot. But let us see. Is she going to go straight through? She's going to cause us difficulty today. What's going to happen? Okay. We're so close. Let's see. No. The answer is no. We're not just going to whack stuff with a hammer. As tempting as it is. And as much as I just did that is not always the solution. So let's remove that and we'll just slightly angle this hole. It's literally shaving off like 1 millimeter. But then it should just satisfyingly pop through. I'm not strong enough to push from that angle. There we go. Lovely. So now my heel bolts are through. Okay. Before we move on and before I trim the bolts to fit, I will be also just checking that I'm happy with the overall position of the plates relative to each other as well as the boot that they're sat on. I am really very picky about this, and if I'm not happy with anything about it, I will just redo it all. Oh god, tape's really sticky. Oh, see, the toe stop housing's dropped out of this plate already. Don't know why it's so loose. Maybe it's because it's replaceable. Yeah, I think they'd make it tighter, but maybe not. Okay. Next, I'm going to put this toe one in. Some boots, the tongue lifts all the way out and they are an absolute joy. I will say roller derby boots, so easy to get positioned. Unlike stiffer leather boots, way more of a pain. Oh, come on. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, 3. No. Not happy with that. You don't want the holes to the screws to be at too much of an angle in the toe, otherwise they are going to pull everything and like pull the plate up into a weird angle as well. So the toe ones want to be as straight as possible, but the heel ones should be slightly angled, but only like sideways, not backwards and forwards, if that makes sense at all. Oh, I've thrown a washer somewhere. Where did I lob it? Chucked it somewhere earlier. I bet I'm standing on it. Luckily, I have a drawer full of washers. So if I chuck one away accidentally, I have got loads more. Okay. So I'm going to do an experiment and plug in I can't read who that is. Amanda. Hello, Amanda. I'm going to plug in my tiny microphone. If it doesn't work, can you let me know in the chat? I just think this is going to allow me to scoot around on my chair a bit more so that you don't have that noise. Is that okay? Can you hear me? I'm going to assume it's a yes. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you very much for letting me know. Appreciate that. I wonder if my... Let's charge you a little bit. Well, it lasted for 20 seconds. I'll just give that a little blast on the old charge and then I'll pop it back in. Good to know though, maybe for the future. So let us tighten up these holes now. Tighten up the screws. We're not going to tighten up any holes. What am I talking about? Thank you, Jamie. Not working. Yeah, I got that. My transmitter does a little flashy light thing, so it shows me if it's not working. Thankfully, I plugged it in and then did stare at it a bit. I was having a right disco time. Okay. Nope. Again, I think I probably could speed this process up and have a drill bit that would allow me to do this more quickly. I almost don't want it doing that fast because I like to have a handle on what's going on the inside. So right now, I've got my hand inside. This is why I really should charge a lot more when people bring their old boot and want it remounting. But I can feel inside with my fingers that these screws that are sticking through from the inside of the boot. Let's see if I can show you them. You can probably just see one at the top there. It's still sticking up there by maybe like 1.5 millimeters, and that is not okay because that's going to be right under the ball of someone's foot, like just here, and it's going to irritate you. Even though there's an inner sole, I still know, I know it's there, so it can't be there. Cannot be there. Right, so we are now going to chop off the bolts and then go in for round 2 with the tightening. I just need to plug in my Dremel. Let's do that over here. Oopsie. Chucked something on the floor accidentally. Right. I have some very concerned people commenting on like some skate park videos telling me that I really need to wear a lot more safety gear, and I always appreciate their concern, but at the same time it's my choice of risk, right? It's nobody else's. So yeah, I'm actually not doing anything that I feel is risky. I'm not doing anything that is beyond a very, very high comfort level, but I totally appreciate how it looks to other people, because I completely remember feeling that way as well. But when you're chopping things off with your Dremel, let's always wear the safety glasses. So safety wear required. And you definitely want the bolt breaker. Okay, let's do a little chop. If you do not like flames or big noises, look away now. You will warned. Oh, wait, wait. Just need a little bit of card. This is to go between the bolt and the plate, so I don't scratch up and mark the plate. Put my bolt breaker on, and a bit of bolt just comes off nice and cleanly. Important to note that the bolt can get very hot, so we try not to touch it. And I'm quite process driven. I like to batch things, so I used to do all the cuts and then go again, but now I prefer to do all of one boot and all the tightening, and then I'll go back to the other one. Still not there. Keep on screwing it in. Obviously towards the end it gets much stiffer to turn, but that's good because it means we're nearly done. And it also means it's not going to come undone, because obviously the last thing you want as a skater is that your mounting bolts and plates are going to fall off. It's not going to be enjoyable for anybody. Okay, still trying to turn them through so they come through the same amount. And nearly there on the inside. I almost want the toe screws to be very slightly recessed. She is all the way down. Go on, lovely. Into the. Good, yeah. So that is pretty much the same on both sides. So I'm gonna go back and put that one in a minute. I'm actually gonna do the trimming on this one first. Spectacles. back to our first one. And we're just going to trim all these bolts again. A little bit too long at the moment. That was hot. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. So that one they're all cut down. This one we just need to screw them back through. Oh, my face is covered in dust now. That is what happens. A glamorous job of skate building. Not glamorous at all, in case you didn't get that sarcasm. Let's see. Oh yeah, that feels good. Toes. Lovely. Okay, round two, then all this noisy stuff will be done. a brush. And put all these little tiny shards of bolt in the bin. Okay. I think we're back. Okay, nice. Which is good timing, really, because I have just put the kettle on. Strikingly. Right. We are getting there with the processes. Plates are on. So most of the hard work is really done now, but I need my second Dremel, the little handheld one. And this one, we're just going to take off the sharp edges of the screws. Okay. Doesn't need a lot of scouring down with that, just a little bit, but it definitely helps. So just making sure that I'm happy with the inside. I'm happy with the outside. Yes. Okay. Don't know if I'm happy with this one. I might have to remount that one. We'll see. We shall see. If it's going to annoy me, I will just take it apart and do it again. This part is very easy now with the thrust plate. So we've got a cushion cap and a cushion that sit straight down on the kingpin, followed by the truck, followed by the other cushion and the other cushion cap sits on the top. And you need your kingpin nut that goes on the outside, and then you screw all of that down. Good stuff. Right, the more I look at that other plate, the more I'm not happy with it. So I'm gonna have to take the back bolts out. That's really annoying, but like I said, I'm not gonna take it out, and I'll show you why I'm not happy with it. But somewhat wish I'd looked at it a bit sooner, but it is what it is. Okay. Normally when I'm fastening these on, the kingpins, I will make sure that the back one is tighter than the front. I just think that we want more stability in the heel. So that is basically done. The last thing to do with these is take off these little axle protectors, and then we can actually put some wheels on. Woohoo! Do you know what? While I'm doing fixes tonight, I should actually fix my squeaky skates, shouldn't I? My Rydell's, because they've got a very squeaky little, oh yeah, there we go, squeaky bearing. Honestly, I realise I'm background noise for you, and that is absolutely fine, but who in their right mind would ever tune into this? Don't know. You never know. In like 5 years' time, when someone looks up, how do I build WIFA skates with a thrust plate? What happens when it goes wrong? Maybe that's when they'll find this video. You maybe have noticed as well, if like sometimes people look at these things, sometimes they don't. There are no spacers in these wheels because the bearings fit so tightly into the hub, you just don't really need them. There we go, that's one done. And the final one. Lovely stuff. Okay. In the boot, we're going to put this little bonus heel pad that WIFA provide. Out you come. Bit of paper, get off. Let go, let go. There we go. So that's going to go into the heel. And then we put over this inner sole. So that boot is basically done. It just needs lacing up. Lush. Right, so we've got these laces to pop back in. But she's done. Now then, what are we going to do about this other boot? Let's have a tea and contemplate what we're going to do. Okie dokie. Okay, so the reason I'm not happy with this, the toe is fine, it's the heel. I feel that the heel is slightly off center. I think you can see that. That's off center. It's like squiffed off to one side, only by like hardly anything. How far off has it gone? No, it can't go out. That cannot go out. So I'm going to need to replace the bolts and probably move the holes over, which is going to be a tricky thing. But I just think that if you were trying to go backwards, the center of the plate there is just not quite in the right place. It's going to make someone's skate life harder. And that is not coming back on me. So for the sake of potentially an extra half an hour or whatever it's going to take me, it's definitely worth replacing. Okay, so that's going to move. Yeah, it's not like it's got to move much, not at all. Just needs to move a little bit. But move it shall. Move it shall. So, I'm going to need to do a little bit of re-drilling. So we're going to get the fresh mounting bolts and basically go again, but I need to hold one side in place while we move this over a bit. It has moved, just need to move it a little bit more. Let's do that again. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Okay, that looks better. The hole on the inside has not really changed size at all. Yeah, it's like 1 millimeter across, but honestly, if I'm happy, it's better. Yeah, okay, good. Good, good. Now we can fix it down. And we do have to obviously go through the process of the drilling again, but such is life. Hello, Laws. Which wheels? The wheels, complex Ghibli wheels. These. The people who know, they know. They have the Ghiblis. I'm just mulling over whether I just take the entire plate off and literally re-sight it again, which I actually am definitely going to do. So having just re-drilled those two, like because it's a thrust plate, if it was a different plate, a metal plate, maybe I would have been okay with it, but the way I can feel the boot pulling under my hand, which suggests that there's going to be a twist. And if that happens, if there's a twist in the sole, then what's going to happen is I'll end up with what's the words I'm looking for? 3 wheels touching the ground instead of 4. Nobody wants that. And I certainly do not wish to send my work out into the world with only 3 wheels. I'm not in the right place, not 4. It's not what I want to do. So we're essentially just going to start again with this boot. And I'm going to just knock these screws back out. Come on, off you go. This is why we do not build boots on an empty stomach. Only joking. Actually, no, I'm not. Oh my word. That one is tight. Out you go. Let's go on the other side. There we go, that one's hit the floor. This one's being a little bit stubborn, which makes me think I've made the right decision. Okay. Right, we're going again. We're just going again. I'm going to make these holes wider, I think, on the bottom. And just make sure that they're really in the right place, because for some reason right now, I feel that it's not sitting where I want it to sit. It wants to be there. Why are you not being there? Which hole is the right one? Okay, so those two are. This top one I feel needs a little bit widening to the left. And the bottom one, it's all like literally a millimeter. They're so close, and that's what makes this hard. There we go. And you're faffing around looking for your drill bits. You're like, where are they? Here they are, my big box of drill bits. So I'm going to go in with the bigger one. And we're just going to make sure that there's no pulling on the sole. That is really important. It's better that the hole is a little bit too big and we epoxy glue it back in to make sure it's not going to wiggle around. But actually the holes, they're not going to wiggle around. They're going to be clamped so tightly shut. The plate using the mounting bolts, that's not an issue. The issue is the warping in the sole, but that's also not going to be an issue because we're fixing it. Good. Okay. What's this side? Oh, that was hot, whatever that was. Good. It's making a horrible noise, isn't it? this is why I need a new drill for Christmas. What do you want to buy a skate builder for Christmas? Get her a new drill. Thanks very much. Oh, something's not right there. Okay. Oh, Lord. Come on. Which way is my tightening? It's this way. Okay. Good job there was no network meeting tonight. To be fair, I'd have never started this if there was. Now would not be a good time for my drill to break. Oh, there we go. It's just really stiff. I think there's probably loads of stuff in it. It needs a good clean out. Come on, space in the drill. Nope. Still no. Man alive, chunky drill bit. Okay, that is really as tight as I can get it. And you thought it was stuck. I felt the panic. It wasn't stuck, it's just that one's a bit too big. Let's go with this one. Sometimes we've got to do the hole in stages. I'm essentially kind of cleaning out the hole at the moment and smoothing it out. This tiny little drill bit. I need the big one. Come on. Just play ball with me. Ah, that felt better. Okay. Did you see then? We got a load of sawdust out. Okay. Yes, that is where we want the heel to be. All right. New processes. We need to go back through all of them. Like I said, for the sake of like whatever it is, an extra half an hour, 40 minutes, I will not let something leave our shop if we are not absolutely delighted with it. Like it's just not going out. Okay. 1, 2. Toes. And I know we have to go back through all the processes again. We have to cut the bolts again. Essentially, we're rebuilding the skate, but like I say, it's better than the sole being warped in a weird way. And normally I would pick it up sooner, but it just must have tightened on in a weird way that had a tiny bit of twist in it. And I don't know, it just was exacerbated in some way. However, it's sorted now. Oh, yes. Now it's straight. Good. Good, good. Now it is fine. And the holes are like 1 millimeter bigger, but they've just allowed enough room. So I'm not going to be sweaty about it. Not going to be anxious. Oh, wait. Honestly, if you start rushing one thing, it all goes. No, because the toe stop housing fell out, didn't it? So let's put that back in. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to screw a toe stop in, and that will not be enjoyable in any way. Okay. Good stuff. I'm just going to secure that one in place. So normally on a Wednesday night, I'd actually be teaching a dance class about now. What time is it? I don't even know. I've lost track of time. But yeah, I'd normally be teaching a dance class. And over the last few weeks, I feel like we've been a little bit all over the place because I usually teach us a block of sessions, and I do 5 weeks and then try and have week 6 as a bit of a rest week, because I think it is really important that we do take breaks, and that needs to be built in. I think everyone needs a break. Not just me. I think everyone needs a break. Washer. Got them out in that I don't have the washer. Honestly, it's a good job I've got like a drawer full of them, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, this week is week 6, and instead of having a rest, I thought, well, I'll have a rest from skating, but I'll go to a network meeting instead. But like I say, it's actually being cancelled due to inclement weather. But yeah, we've got one more block. What I really enjoy about the blocks is that we can go into some real depth in the skating, so we can really pull apart movements quite deeply and explore them and really get to know them. And I think that's really important, and it's my dance class, so therefore no, I've found in my journey that that's made the most difference when I've been skating. It's been the most helpful thing. We're okay. I thought it had like slid back to its position like I'd not done anything, but it hasn't. It's fine. Yeah, so I found that made the biggest difference. And I thought, well, if it made the biggest difference for me, I'm not a trained dancer. I like dancing, but I'm not trained. And I wonder if that will help other people. And you know what? It seems to have worked. So I'm going to say yes to that. And honestly, if people don't enjoy it, then they just don't come. So what I've done with my class is we do 2 weeks of drills, and then we do a little bit of like a rhythm-based choreography that's, I will say, like line dancing, but not really line dancing. And then we do another bit more, some more drills, So it kind of goes from drill heavy to more choreography style. Okay, let's chop these bolts off. Oh, no, no, no. Tipped over this little tiny drawer. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Let's put the drill bits back again. Well, here was me optimistically at the beginning of my live video. I'm like, yeah, this boot's going to take me 3/4 of an hour. Here I am sitting here over an hour later. But you know what? It's, like I say, it's totally worth getting it in the right position. No compromises on that at all. So we've got one more block of the year, and our final block is party grooves, because why not? It's party season, right? So party grooves is where we're at. Okay. These are like the worst length. They are a tiny bit too short to really cut more than an absolute slice off. So you end up just grinding them down, and they're a tiny bit too long for me to feel comfortable with leaving them. So yes, didn't burn myself. Okay. Where's my other one? Nice. All right, happy with that. Let's give that a nice little brush off. And let's de-dust the table again. So, I can't even tell you how many tools we've used tonight. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Held onto the table there and totally thought it was more solid than it actually was. That was a surprise. Right, I've got a little roll of tape here that I usually put the Dremel on, but I left it over there earlier. Anyway, it's here now looking after me. So that was the hard bit. That definitely felt like it was work. But I definitely feel much, much happier with the position of the plate now. And it's literally a millimetre. But I know a millimetre makes a difference. So it was worth doing. For my peace of mind, because I'm pretty sure this skater will never, ever know. I'm not going to tell her. Absolutely not a problem. Right, that's that. Some plates, some of the Powerdyne plates, getting these cushions on is a bit of a faff. You have to push in a really hard way. It's very hard to get it on. So we have to give those a little grease, but I am not due to do one of those for a little while, I don't think. Unless someone comes in and orders one. We have got another couple of skate consultations booked in, so it's quite possible that I'll be building another one soon. I don't know, but there'll be a lot of catching up on other things. And actually, in a couple of weeks, final month of the year, there's all kinds going on. But we've got a Christmas wreath party happening before Christmas wreath party, mixing up all of the things. We've got a Christmas wreath workshop before then, which I'm quite excited for. Getting all the tinsel out, just doing the making of the stuff. I've got some really, I'm going to say ugly, but satisfyingly so, little trinkets to put on the Christmas wreath workshop. The wreaths. We used a lot of disco balls last year of different sizes, like mini ones, larger ones, and so on, as one would expect with a shop that is obsessed with disco balls. But this year we don't have as many disco balls. I mean, I can always get some more. Right, final processes. I'm going to put in the heel pad. Good job I didn't do that earlier, isn't it? And we'll pop this in as well, the inner sole. And then we'll take off these little protectors and we'll put the wheels on. Delightful, complex wheels. Oh, there, of course, there it is. There's the washer. In you go, in the bin. Right. Usually what I do with all the packaging as well is I actually send it to our customer. It acts as a little bit of filler in the box, but I just think that you sometimes want to have all your boxes and bits and pieces, so just pop it in the box. But yeah, we're about there. I'm pretty sure she said she's already got toe plugs, but I will probably message her tomorrow and just double check. Lovely. Yeah, I'm really happy with these. They look smart. So the last test, of course, is do all the wheels sit on the table? Because if they don't, then I'm still not done. Like, there is an element of adjusting the cushions and things like that and allowing the weight to settle, but really it should just be right. We should all sit on the table. I think the worst plates for it are probably the sunlight plates. Thankfully, not very many people order those anymore. Oh yeah, we're all right there. There's a tiny bit of displacement on one side, but it's not terrible. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine, because body weight in there is going to sort that out. Yeah, perfect. I'm just like pulling these as though you'd have put some body weight in. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Final thing is to lace these up. And then we are all done. Woo! Okay, shall I look at my watch? Oh, 9:30. Look at that. Like, yeah, it'll be an early night, no probs. Back in early tomorrow. I've got another one-to-one. Oh. I think I'm being pretty astounded at the moment by the number of people who I'm coming across, either in messages, on socials, or mostly in person in some way. They either ring or they come in. They like physically come in to the shop. And my one-to-one person tomorrow, my private coaching client, rang last week with this whole, I'm too old to roller skate. I can't come and roller skate. I'm too old. And obviously, if you know me at all, you'll be like, no, we're definitely, no one is too old. We have a whole ITV segment, news item story about how no one is too old. You are literally, the minute you decide you're old is when you're old, I feel, is kind of how it goes at the moment. And the minute you decide you don't want to keep moving is the time when your body is going to basically stop working for you. So if we decide that we are going to keep moving and movement will continue to be part of our lifestyle for however long, then we're gonna keep going. And I think it's actually a really nice thing to know that there are people older than you who are still roller skating. So we have June, who is 78, who comes to class occasionally. And we have Andrea, who is 77 and was absolutely gobsmacked that she wasn't the oldest one. And it's, yeah, I think it's tricky because society doesn't tell us that we are okay to keep moving. And especially as women, you kind of become invisible once you're over 40. You just fade away. It's like you stop caring, maybe, is one of the things, but then also so does society. So you just allow yourself to disappear into the background and fade away. And I don't think that's okay. So we are going to take up some space. Thank you very much, because we flipping well deserve to. And it's the only way we're actually going to do something that is going to be more life-changing and affect society, is if we actually do something about it. So yeah, I see roller skating as almost like a protest in positive form, in joyful form, because we're choosing to take up space and be more confident and spread more joy. And I just think that's really important. So I didn't ever think that this is what I was going to talk about. Not for a second did I think that I was going to kind of draw that parallel, but here we are. And I also think that
roller skating is really difficult for some people because you might not actually want to be seen. You're not ready to be noticed. And if you're somebody, and I speak from experience here, who wears a lot of black or wants to blend in or struggles to take a compliment in some way, then you're probably going to find this extra hard because your body is telling you you're more visible and somehow you're not safe, which may be how you're feeling. So you're kind of being protective towards yourself. And so your body goes into overdrive in producing stress hormones and, you know, the fight or flight response, and you go into mass dysregulation where your limbs are kind of locked out and you're not comfortable. I mean, I'm describing a kind of maybe very exaggerated version, but this is what I see happening in people when they put skates on for the first time and they go, oh, good grief, these things are much rollier than I realized, aren't they? So this whole process is happening in your body with you being completely unaware of it. I just think that by bringing some awareness to it, we can actually control it. Or at least we understand what's going on. We understand it's normal and we understand the work that we need to do to overcome this and be successful. So if it's visibility, let's just take a moment. If it's visibility, because you're taller, let's take that away to be washed, you're going to be taller than you used to be. So if you are this much taller than you used to be, you know, from the ground to where the boot starts, where the top of the heel is, that could be 4 inches or a bit more, because the wheels and like up, it could be 5 inches. You're a good bit taller than you were, and that's going to make you see the world from actually a higher view. So you'll have a completely different worldview than you're used to. So if you spent however many decades not growing and then instantly you have a growth spurt, essentially, your body has got to be okay with that somehow. My beauties, we shall post those tomorrow. I'm not going to pack them up right now. I am just going to put all the rest of her paperwork in there, though. We'll have a little tidy up. So that's my opinion at the moment, and that is what I do a lot of yapping about on. If you're following me on any kind of channel, including this one, you will probably have noticed, maybe you haven't, but let me tell you now, that that's what I'm talking about. It's visibility, because if you don't want to be seen, if you don't want to be noticed, then, but you do want to roller skate, you're going to kind of have to make your peace with that on some level, because you are going to be noticed. There is no getting away from it. Our eyes are drawn to movement, outside, inside, because we're hardwired to notice, is it dangerous or not? So you need to see what the thing is that's moving around. And if the thing is moving around is actually entertaining and not scary, then you might well continue to watch it, because that's quite fun. So this is making a decision. Is it scary? Is it safe? Am I about to be eaten by a lion? That's the decision that you are making all the time. So when someone else realizes that you, roller skater, are safe, not scary, they might well just stick around to watch. But you being you and a roller skater that doesn't want to be watched, you might not enjoy that. So that's where the challenge lies for a lot of us, because we're like, I'm not your performing monkey. I'm not here for your pleasure. I'm here for mine. But also, you kind of are here for someone else's pleasure. So you might as well just get over that fact now. Don't know what that was. Yeah, so it's a bit of a tricky thing to think about, get used to that sort of idea. I refer to it at the moment as a visibility wound because that's how I see it. Oh, that is not getting in there. You will fit in there because I will insist that you fit in there. Delightful. Great. Yeah, it's a visibility wound. At least I believe it is. Something that you might be really struggling with, but perhaps you're not even aware that you are struggling with it. Okay. My trusty roll of tape. Love it. Okay. There are so many screws on the floor. So we're just going to do a little sweep up. And then tomorrow morning, I will get the Hoover out. I'm just going to sweep the big bits up for now. Oh, and the little bits. I call the tiny chunks of end of screw that have like flung themselves everywhere. Cool. Right, I think we're done. Oh no, we're not. The table. Let's get my cleaning wipes. Well, slowly but surely, my little pile of skate builds is definitely going down. So that's good. I'm building in more capacity. I would say that my rate of redoing so I think I have about a 2% rebuild rate at the moment, which obviously I'm always working on improving, but considering the amount of stuff that I'm currently working on, I don't think that's too bad. Don't get me wrong, it can always be improved, and I do want to give some of my other work away, but you know, one step at a time. Building business one step at a time. All right, pretty happy with that. Let's clean this side as well. Good, good. So here we are, finished boots. Just about ready to send. Just got a few little adjustments to finish off, and tomorrow
we'll just also make sure that there's nothing else that needs including in her package before we send it. And then they can go tomorrow, so she can have them this weekend. And considering the order was actually finished, placed on Monday night, I'm pretty happy with that turnaround time. So as far as packaging materials go, we always put the boots into individual plastic bags, just an extra precaution. I feel like Rydell do this. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And then our box, put them in. So that will be tomorrow's job. There we go. But also, look how fun and exciting these little things are. Ooh, yes. So at some point I will hop back on the live and we will do a little bit of a this is what's new. But as for now, it's well after 9:30, so I appreciate you keeping me company tonight. Thanks, Jamie. Have a delightful evening, and I'll see you when I see you. Take care. Bye bye.